Kia ora and hello, everybody from Albany, Auckland, in New Zealand. Hopefully, you all have been having fantastic student teaching experiences, especially here at the end. Congratulations to all of you getting to graduate here in the next couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the pictures and hearing about where everyone goes. Just to give you a brief overview of where I've been at for the past few weeks, I've been student teaching at the Pinehurst School, which is a private school that teaches Cambridge curriculum in the North Shore of Auckland, which is where Albany's at. I'm in three different classrooms with three different cooperating teachers teaching year 10 biology, year 12 chemistry, and year 12 physics. And I'll go into those classes here in a second. But just to give a brief overview of the school, here's a picture of it. So it's divided, before I get ahead of myself, it goes all the way from preschool all the way up to year 13. And the reason it's year 13 is because they don't call what we call kindergarten, they call year one. So it's actually the same amount of schooling that we do back in the States. They just kind of have a different numbering system for it. Total student enrollment is around 900, and that's from preschool all the way up to year 13. The best way I can describe the build of it, though, is triangular. So there's going to be more kids in the primary school, which is up to around year 6. And then it just slowly tapers to fewer students as you get to the secondary and what they call the college, so college being high school and then junior college being the middle school. It kind of tapers off as students will sometimes come to the school to get primary school done and build that foundation and then go to public schools or other private schools elsewhere in either New Zealand or around the world. It does have a very high international population, especially because Auckland has a very high Southeast Asian population that lives in Auckland. But there's also a lot of students who will board here, living with host families that are from Southeast Asia, specifically China and Korea. Huge population from there here to learn and get a really good education, but then also to learn English as well. Their parents will send them here and work really hard to pay the tuition, or if they're wealthy enough, they will have the money and send their kids here, which is interesting. It's very different than what I'm used to back home. So I know it's not the greatest picture, but here's a picture of the junior college, and then right back here behind these trees, you can kind of see the roof right here, is the science corridor. So it's an outdoor campus, very large outdoor campus, and all the sciences are in that kind of outdoor hallway right there. It has an awning that goes over it and covers it from the winter rains that are starting to come in. But then each room itself is separate. And so students will walk around outside instead of walking through hallways like what we have back in schools in the Midwest. The school is divided into 4 different houses, which is kind of cool. And then you have primary houses and then the college houses. So from years 9 all the way up to 13, you'll be in one of those houses. And so I am with the Totara house. All of them are named after native New Zealand trees. So Totara is a native tree. It's the red house. It's the house that my host Jackie is the dean of, which is why I got put with it. And then one of my CTs is one of the pod teachers. So there's 5 pod teachers or homeroom teachers. It's a way for students to really, younger students get to know older students get to know younger students, and then kind of build inter-school competition and build kind of this esprit de corps. And so for my outreach project, what I did is they had a interpod day at the end of last term, where it was going to be an interpod competition, so the 5 pods of Totara. I put together a big competition, a lot of minute to win it games that I found online, and put that together for them to compete against each other and build that esprit de corps and bond with each other, which was really fun. It was like herding cats because it was the last thing that they did on the last day of the term, and they were just ready to go home. So it was really fun trying to manage that and then work with them, but overall it was a great time. And it's been really fun getting to work in that inter-house system, getting to know students all the way from year 9 all the way up to year 13, and getting to know them, and then working with the teachers that are from specifically that house as well. As far as the entire staff is concerned, there's around 100 or so staff from primary all the way up to secondary, and they've been fabulous to work with, absolutely very welcoming, and that's just a giant trend that I've seen in New Zealand overall, is that it's a very welcoming culture. And they've just really taken an interest in me, and I've taken an interest in them, and they've been very supportive both when it comes to learning how to teach, about New Zealand, and just about life in general. They've just been a very fantastic group to get to know, particularly my CTs, and then there's a really good sense of camaraderie in the teachers as well, which I think then trickles down to the students, which is really cool. But they teach a variety of subjects, although in the college level under Cambridge International Curriculum. Oh, here's another picture from that science corridor, looking out towards their soccer field where they play rugby, lacrosse, soccer in this little pond. So right behind me would be one of my science classrooms. So as I was saying, they teach Cambridge International Curriculum. It comes from Cambridge University in England and is designed to be global. So a student in England that's taking Cambridge curriculum, Cambridge High School curriculum, and a student in South Africa that's taking Cambridge curriculum, or a student in New Zealand or Hong Kong or anywhere in the world that there's a Cambridge school, is taking the same class, same curriculum in English. And so theoretically, you could take a kid that's here at my school in Pinehurst and drop them off at a school in South Africa that teaches Cambridge, and they'd be able to hop right into the classes that they were taking back when they were in New Zealand, which is kind of cool and nice. It is a very rigorous, very prestigious program, and is designed to be very high achieving, especially for the students at the school. What's kind of cool about it is all of the testing and curriculum design is done external. The teacher can build their own lessons to teach the curriculum, but when it comes to the actual testing, it's all done by third party via Cambridge, which eliminates a lot of bias that could potentially be in grading, which I think is kind of neat. But on the flip side of that, one of the disadvantages is because the tests are very high stakes, and that it does eventually help them get into university. A lot of the education really is geared towards teaching to the test. It's a very high level of education. The students really do have a very strong sense of content knowledge, and then some of the classes are designed to be more critical thinking classes, specifically like the global cultures class and global perspectives are very critical thinking heavy and not so much test heavy. But a lot of them, the training and the education in the classroom and lessons are designed to help them learn material to be successful on their tests, which I think is a little bit of a disadvantage, but they are very high achieving students and they do know what they're being taught and do learn it very well, which I think is good and does speak measures to the ability of the teachers and the drive of the students. They're very highly motivated, highly dedicated. But there is kind of a little bit of that kind of behaviorist mentality because they're so competitive and want to be so high achieving. They're really driven to do well on grades and will so much as argue for a single % on a test, which is interesting, something different than what I'm used to back home. But overall, they're incredibly bright kids and an absolute pleasure to work with. So here's a picture from my year 12 chemistry classroom. Out there is the outdoor corridor, and you can kind of see the trees. Right beneath it would be that pond picture that I showed you. My year 12 chemistry and my year 12 physics, the kind of class that they represent the most back home would be AP. So it is an advanced course. What they'll do is in years 9, 10, 11, students will have 10 different classes, and then in years 12 and 13, they'll only have 6. There's 6 periods a day, and the way they kind of balance that is that it's kind of like what we have in the university where you don't have every single class every day. It's fun because it lets the kids take more classes, especially in those earlier high school levels. But on top of that, it kind of breaks up the monotony a little bit for me as a teacher because I'm not teaching the same lesson over and over and over up to 8 times a day. I'm teaching the same lesson 3 times a week for my biology class because I have 3 sections of it. In the chemistry, there's only 2 sections. I'm only with one of them, so I only teach the lessons once. Same with physics. But it really does resemble AP style chemistry and physics, which has been a little daunting because while I might be endorsed in those areas, I'm not quite up to the level of being able to teach AP. It's been a good growing opportunity for me, but it has been very daunting, and the kids are very, very bright, and so there's a lot of pressure to me, I feel internally, to try and match those kids' abilities, which has been good. They really do enjoy a lot of note-taking, past questions, practice problems, and tests, which has been kind of fun trying to do some of the discussion-based methods like what we've been learning. With this particular chemistry class, I was allowed to create one of their assessments, and so I'll be seeing the results of that here next Friday on the 10th. But it's interesting because what I did is, like Brian and Ted have kind of taught us, of having them try and teach younger students. Because the younger students are here on campus and are so accessible, that's what I'm having them do, is they're teaching their the content from their last unit that they did to I want to say year 7 students is who we partnered with. And it's been funny kind of watching them, because they have the ability to do, they're very high achieving, but they're afraid of it because it's not what they're used to, and it's pushing them out of their comfort zone. And what's kind of cool is my teacher, his whole philosophy is it's good for them to push them out of their comfort zone. They're still going to do fine. If they are honestly worried and want to study more, they're going to read their textbooks and study more and do practice on their own. but it's good for me as a teacher because I get to test out different assessment methods. And he goes, yes, use them as your guinea pigs. It's been really fun. But they're a great group, very bright, very welcoming to me. They like to make fun of how I pronounce words, specifically water, because we talk about water a lot in chemistry. And according to them, I sound like I say water and don't say the T at all, which I make fun of them for sounding posh when they say water, and it's really fun. We have a good time. Here's just another angle of the classroom. I'm doing a lot more lead teaching in this term. So we came halfway through their first term, actually not even halfway, more towards the last third of their last term. And the new term has just started this week. And so I'm doing more lead teaching for these last 3 weeks, especially in these 2 more AP style classes. It's been a lot of observing so far, but now I'm starting to get into and be in front of them and teach, which is fun. Here's my year 10 bio class. You'll notice all the chairs are up because I took it at the end of the day because I didn't want to get any students in it because they're a little particular about that. These guys take a bit more of a general class, and these guys will have 10 classes all the way from humanities, PE, music, math, and then there's sciences as well. It's up to them which ones they take. The only ones that I think are 100% required are math and English at this point. And so they can take any sciences they want. So all these kids are here essentially by choice, which is nice. Very eager to learn. They take my discussion style a little bit easier than the other year 12 because they're still very ingrained and like their notes, like their test questions, but they're a bit more flexible because they are younger, and I think that's just something that comes with the age. Very fun, very talkative. The biggest class that I have with the 3 sections is 24 kids, the smallest is 17. I should have said for my chemistry class, it's 24 kids as well, and then my physics class is around 20. I don't have any pictures from that because it was already, haven't had them yet since the new term started. I start with them tomorrow. But they're great. It's interesting because they kind of were starting right where I left off with my kids at Linn-Mar. So I've done more lead teaching in this class between the 3 sections. My cooperating teacher might take the first section or the first 2 sections lesson, and then I'll take them for the rest of the week. It's been really fun getting to know them and work with them because they're very, very eager, very curious, and very excited to learn, but do still kind of have that grades-based mentality of they want to get that prize of getting that high percent, that A, and they are very competitive. Here's just another angle of that classroom as well. Just out here to the right is that corridor. And so there's a little storage room right here between these doors. Right on the other side is the chemistry classroom that I was at. And then my year 12 physics, I have not done any lead teaching with them simply because the content that they are doing is far beyond anything I know how to teach. I do get to lead teach a little bit here in this term. They have a small chapter on nuclear physics, which my teacher gave me, and I've really been brushing up on because I know nothing about it. But he said it's a good one because we can teach that. I can teach my lessons more piecemealed out and in tandem to another topic that they're doing at the same time. And so I start doing that this week and over the next couple of weeks until I leave. But they are incredibly bright. They are the smartest kids I've ever met. And it's really heavy material for me, not being a physicist, just having kind of that basic endorsement, not the level I'm ready to be teaching at, but again, a good opportunity for me to learn. And it's been a fantastic ride working with them and the cooperating teachers as well. To give you a little information about my homestay, I'm staying with a teacher from the school. Her name is Jackie and her husband Bruce. They have 2 sons, Matt and Donovan. Matt actually lives with us because he goes to university in Albany, and so he commutes there every day. It's maybe 10 minutes down the hill. They're around our age since they're university students, and they've been really fun to get to know and explore New Zealand with. They've been absolutely fantastic hosts, and I've really loved staying with them. They kind of live in the country just above Albany, and so they have these extensive gardens with these trails. This has all been put in by Jackie, Bruce, and the boys, all the way back there to these little beehives as well. It's a mix of native plants, what they call native bush, trees, flowers. It's absolutely stunning to see, and just incredible sunsets up here. Here's my host brother Matt. He's the one that lives at home with us, and he's been fantastic to hang out with and go to the gym with. Here's some pictures from the back porch, and just amazing sunsets. It's been an absolute blast here in New Zealand. Cheers to all of you. Congratulations again. Look forward to seeing all of you when I get back. Take care.